And I'm sharing my screen. All right, let me get here started. So, let's see, go to Moodle. Right. Sorry about this. I was there. So this is an introduction video, right? So every time if you're new to Southern University, you're going to click on your class. This is my faculty view, right? But you click on the class and your view of ethics and mass communication is the same as mine, right? This video is obviously appearing here, but it's not uploaded yet. So what to do? So the class activities are basically quizzes, forum posts, and then a writing assignment, right? And some mixture thereof. So you could read the syllabus right here. I won't read it in this video. This is just a kind of quick video on where to get started. But I've completely redesigned the class from last semester. We're still using the same textbook, right? It's still media ethics and issues and cases. So one of the things is that now it's completely top down. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is the attendance verification quiz, and that'll ask you some true or false questions about the syllabus. And this icebreaker activity is a forum blog post, right? But you see, this is the icon for quiz, and this in Moodle is the icon for forum posts, right? And then basically you'll notice the due dates are in the texts of every single activity, right? So you'll do that. Now, attendance verification is a federal requirement by every university has to verify that when people are either taking out Pell Grants or loans, that they are in compliance and attendance, right? So I have to report your presence inside the Moodle shell. Now, attendance for online classes isn't like the last logged in. It's the complete logged in activity for the whole semester. So you must be an active student. I'm just setting the deadline for the icebreaker and the attendance verification quiz in the next couple 2 days, right? Although I will set this probably to be a little bit more towards January 30th because the report for the federal requirement for attendance verification is deadline for this semester, I think February 3rd, right? So, first, for the first 5 weeks or so, what we're doing is we're doing readings out of a different textbook that, these are chaptered readings, right? And there are these PDFs right here. I have my lecture notes, and I've given lectures to you about all the different ethical theories. So this first one is a good example. Go to the topic ethical theory. You have to do the reading. Here are my notes, right, which I just give to you. And then I have a lecture note, a lecture basically on my lecture notes, right? I might put an extra video here, but you'll notice you have to do the introductory quiz to the subject matter, what is ethics, right? And then what is ethics, the forum blog post. And you'll notice the due dates are basically the same, right? You have up until January 20th to do these things. And then, of course, the chapters on Kantian deontology. Here are my lecture notes. I made a bunch of lecture videos for this. Kant's pretty complicated. I put some other resources, but again, Kant quiz, January 30th, right? Forum blog post, January 30th, right? And basically you do that for actual utilitarianism, and then we do one on virtue ethics. Now, up to about virtue ethics, you'll see this goes up to February 15th. So for the first 5 or 6 weeks or so, all of these different ethical theories are what I call this portion of the class the ethical toolkit, right? These are concepts that we're going to use, and these sources are better explained than our actual textbook. I have some issues with the textbook. Basically, there's not a single ethicist that helped write the textbook. It was just a bunch of professors who sometimes made some mistakes on the subject matter, and I offer these sources as better sources than the initial textbook, right? But again, it's all top down. You start from the top and work your way down, right? But these are the two things that you need to do here. And then after virtue ethics, we transition to chapter 1 in the media ethics textbook, issues and cases. And you'll notice there's a reading quiz, which is, this one is like 9 questions, mostly true and false, some multiple choice, But again, after you've read chapter 1, you take that quiz. Some of the reading quizzes have like 6, 7, or 5 true or false statements in them. Again, it's just to make sure that you're doing the readings, right? And since we've done blog posts on ethical theory, basically this first chapter is a really bad summary of ethical theory. So that's why I structured the course a little differently. Then you'll see your midterm exam is from February 24th to the March 3rd. You'll see that I give you the essay question right here. Like if you were in another class and they gave you the essay questions ahead of time, so you know that you have to prepare, and that's all based on, again, the case studies, right? And of course, the midterm is open from the 24th to March 3rd. Anytime there's a final deadline, I make that available to 11:59. That's the latest I can do for the day. So that's the default setting for all the due dates, right? Let me know if one doesn't have the 23:59 as the last, right? So on March 3rd, 23:59, you know that's the deadline for the midterm exam. And then we basically we spend 2 weeks on chapter 2, information ethics, right? And again, there's a reading quiz, right? I'd have a little lecture here and a video about Plato's notion of the cave. That gets drawn from pretty heavily, right? And then we did the Kobe Bryant tweet case study. Chapter 3, again, quiz, brief reading quiz. And then we have 2 forum posts here. The privacy chapter is actually really fascinating to me. Probably will be to you, right? I'm going to take this out of here, forum post for the entire course. I basically moved all the forum posts closer to the chapters in a more top-down organization, so ignore that for now. See chapter 4, loyalty, right? You have the reading quiz, and then you have these forum blog posts, right? And then you have this quiz, and then all the forum blog posts. Now, this one right here called constructive criticism for the course. If you miss the deadline for one of the earlier ones, this is kind of like a freebie, and you can give me some constructive feedback on terms of how you found the course. Obviously, you don't really respond to this at the very end, but again, it's kind of just freebie. So if you miss a blog post somewhere along the way, that's one to make up, right? And then, of course, this is the media ethics paper, right? And so you'll see, you see the deadlines, you'll see what you have to do, section 1, 2, and 3, bibliography, plus, some tips, and then the turnitin.com right here. That's kind of like your formative assignment, right? Bringing together everything that we've done. And this paper right here is like, what did I say? 8 to 10 pages, maybe, or 4 to 6, right? Now notice here I say 2 pages minimum, 1.5 pages minimum, 1 page minimum, right? So again, I have minimums, but I don't have maximums. So if you really wanted to take this assignment and like really go deep into it, I believe I've made it 15% of your grade. So again, right? So now let's actually go to the syllabus for a second, since I've shown you that. That's not it. Go to window. Oh, here it is. All right, so here's a little course description, right? Moodle access, right? You must make sure that you have Moodle access. Obviously, you're not watching this, right? But this is our book, Media Ethics and Issues and Cases. It's the 10th edition. If the bookstore doesn't have it, here's the link to Amazon to buy it, right? If you're wondering what you're graded on for the whole semester and you want to see it conceptually, you take 4 ethical theory toolkit quizzes. Each one is worth 10% of your grade. Then you have those reading quizzes from chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Each one is 3%, making 15%. The midterm exam itself is 15%. All the forum blog posts, when you do them together, make up 15% of your grade. Your final exam project, which is 15%, and then participation. Your participation grade is based on the average of your grades and assignments. Participation also references ways that students work in the online classroom and outside of it. Additional points may be acquired in participation if student seeks out help and work, and points may be deducted due to systemic absences or lack of quality of presence in the online classroom. Basically, it means that this is a category that's kind of free form. It allows me to reward people who go above and beyond, right? So like even if you were like getting a D plus and but you were really trying, you're in my office hours or we make online digital appointments, and I see you really doing a lot of the work and I can give you a 10 out of 10 to kind of like help you along the way. That's what participation is for. It's that category. It's also the category that's, someone doesn't really come around, logged in for like the first 3 weeks, didn't show up, and then at the end of the course gave me a sob story without any documentation for those missed absences. Participation also can be a category where I see like, well, you really weren't participating, right? So again, but this is a way to award merit outside traditional class structure in a way to kind of give points back to students for really trying. That's really what participation is for. Um, I use the grade keeping feature in Moodle. However, your full grade is not calculated in Moodle since participation is calculated at the end. Sometimes students wrongly think that their grade in Moodle is their grade. Let me explain. A student has achieved an average of B in all quizzes inside Moodle and yet earns a C minus at the end of the course because of both attendance penalties and the fact that I will take off participation points to reflect their systemic absence from class. These things are calculated at the end, and any student is free to ask me about the grade breakdown at the end of the course, right? So again, I don't assign the percentage weights to the gradebook in Moodle, but every semester we get to like the end of the last 3 weeks, no one hears me say that. And again, they freak out that they have a C minus when they really have a B plus because they were stellar in terms of their participation. If there's any extra credit assignments too, that gets added at the end on a spreadsheet. Um, so, but if you're ever really wondering, like, what was my midterm grade? Your midterm grade is basically these, the quizzes up until the time, right? Quizzes and forum posts up until, what is it, March 14th? I think that's when midterm grades must be reported in Banner. Attendance policy, this is an online course. If there are benchmark deadlines on those due dates, and you are expected to log into Moodle enough so that you can actually do everything as paced. Since all the deadlines are basically decided, and this is one night before we go to school tomorrow, right? So we're going to start on Tuesday, January 17th. This video is being made January 16th. There really is no, all the deadlines, everything, right? So again, now this is of course a rough outline of the order we go in, right? And you'll notice that these are weeks. Pay attention to the due dates inside Moodle. This is just kind of like a shell to kind of get you to kind of like conceptualize how the course is structured, right? Email policy, 1 or 2 simple questions in email. If it's anything really difficult, I'd rather see you in person or set up a Microsoft Teams digital meeting, because I understand like you could be a senior, you could be doing an internship very far away, right? Statement of mutual responsibility. Basically, I outline the duties that you should expect of me and that these are my expectations of you. So you can know that I should be present, punctual, and prepared and attentive during each class and willing to participate positively and constructively in class. I will understand and abide by the procedures, regulations, schedules described in the syllabus, right? And to assume ownership of one's ideas, opinions, and values, and you are expected to take notes, right? You should be outlining readings, doing that kind of stuff, but you should also expect me to be punctual and present. You should expect me to be generally concerned about your ability to perform well. I remain faithful to the hours it takes to create a class and follow these procedures. And I encourage student learning and provide a class structure that reinforces that student learning online or otherwise. So those are the things that you can expect from me. These are the things I can expect from you. So there's 2 sets of obligations between me and you. Class etiquette. Please come to class prepared. Preparation tells having read the assignments and a demonstrated openness to ask questions about items you find confusing, puzzling, or interesting in your blog post, right? Participation in class discussion facilitates everyone's learning. Please also post on the forums with respect. We can have reasonable disagreement. And I don't expect, like, when we talk about ethical issues, right, that basically means, like, if you can be mean in life by saying it, you could also be mean by typing it. Now, last semester, we had a great group. There was no hostility whatsoever. We had a lot of fun. A lot of students wanted to actually have this as an in-person class. But you understand that this is an asynchronous class, which means that we don't really meet. Some professors at Southern University do sometimes uh, create the expectation that there's a meeting alongside an asynchronous class. But according to the dean, this is an asynchronous online class, which means that it has deadlines in it, but the asynchronicity is that the onus is on you to manage your time and to know yourself enough that you could meet all those deadlines. You have the deadlines in the very beginning, so there should be no excuse that you can't turn things in. And right. Also note my academic dishonesty policy. I have added also a number 3. My academic honesty also means academic dishonesty also means using text replacement software or digital AI like ChatGPT. So if you use those things on your final paper, it'll be an automatic 0. Cheating is always an interesting thing in an ethics class, right? But again, you could read this plagiarism, academic dishonesty. Last semester, none of the students really, they all did really wonderful assignments. And when you read the final paper, you get a lot out of it if you actually do it right for yourself. Okay. So also, I've updated, I believe, your syllabus in the class. This is a little bit different. I've updated this super addendum, right? But also pay attention to those things. I'll have a separate video about the concourse and all the different academic resources that we have on campus. But that's basically the course, right? So you do quizzes, online blog posts, right? And I kind of go in there, kind of discuss some things, right? But sometimes I guess the other thing to say is right here. Some of the forum blog discussion questions will be used as case study examples, and some of those might be on the midterm or the final exam. Since this is an online class, forum posting takes the place of class discussion. I will come into those discussions from time to time. I monitor them and will occasionally engage you. In general, your post should be overwritten and comprehensive. Forum posting is your ability to prove to me that you are reading the material along with reading quizzes. There is also what I call going through the motions of posting. People who do this are not comprehensive. They do not write eloquently, and when asked to do a response back to another student, they write neat or good job rather than being an active learner or conversational partner with your peers who reference the text and assigned readings. So there's 2 ways that people engage in evasive forum blog posting just for credit, right? They say something like, that's neat, or they answer the question, but they don't reference the textbook at all. There is an expectation that you're referencing your text, right? You're doing in-text citation even in those forum blog posts. And you should be proving to me that you are engaging the material in both the ethical theory textbook, that we're reading some of those things from the toolkit in the early unit, and then the application of that toolkit to all the different specialized knowledge of chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, chapter 5 is my favorite. Actually, it's media and democracy, and I've been thinking a lot about that. And I actually might also post some interesting things. There's a wonderful show called NPR is on the Media, which basically contains a lot of ethical issues that we have in the media. And so I heard that they're going to do an episode of or 5 or 6 episodes on the far right. That's really wonderful. There's also a show on NPR called The Daily, which is ran by the New York Times, that explains very expert analysis of one news story a day. And that is maybe a podcast too. So there's some really interesting things that we'll also point you to over the course of the semester. I will create a separate section on the bottom called miscellaneous, where I just kind of put really cool things, right? So anyway, that's really all of the course, where to get started. It's all top down. Start at the top and work your way down. And now the forum blog posts are spread out throughout the class. Last semester I was making this course up as I went along, but now it's complete with the reading quizzes being added on. And again, some people wait to the very last minute, but this is the textbook you need, right? Let me just click on it. All right, skip verification, right? But this will take us all the way out there, and this is our textbook, right? Media ethics issues and cases. So, as a paperback, it's very easy to get, right? Some of them are used for $40. You could do rentals for about 20. Anyway, and the bookstore should have this book. I contacted them last semester. I don't know about you, but sometimes Follett doesn't always follow through. So that's why there's this link, and you could see what the book is in the video. All right, so let me go back. Again, my name is Dr. Hackett. I'm in Harris Hall 2044, and I'll have more updated information and a separate announcement inside the Moodle shell about when my office hours are. So I'm still trying to feel that out. So I make that decision in the first couple days, and then I'll send a separate text. Oh, that's the other thing. Anytime I send you a message in the participants feature that sends it to the whole class in Moodle, I also archive it under announcements. Right. Okay. Take care, and thank you for listening. And let's have a great semester.